Let's speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. Who you with, Kirk? I'm in. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm in. Welcome. I'm in. Welcome. I'm in. Welcome. I'm in. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm in. Welcome. I'm in. Welcome. I'm in. Welcome. I'm in. I'm in. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm in. Welcome. I'm in. Welcome. I'm in. Welcome. I'm in. I'm in. Welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm in. Welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm in. Welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm in. Welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. I'm in. 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 I'm in. Who you with, Kirk, dog? Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, dog. I'm in. Who you with, Kirk, dog? Want to say happy Tuesday to everyone. Thank you for tuning in once again, hanging out with your boy. Welcome to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter. D Live is in the house. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the show, Marilyn Million Schaefer, watching it on Facebook. You can live chat with us in the chat room, and it's gonna be a good night tonight, just like every night. So let's get this party started. Man, first of all, I want to tell y'all once again, get out and vote. We have the runoff elections coming up. The city of Fort Worth is having a major election for could possibly be the first Black mayor. So definitely get out and support Deborah Peoples. Stand behind his sister. She's trying to make a difference in the city of Fort Worth. We've seen some of the things that taking place there. So definitely, if you're in the city of Fort Worth, make sure you get out and vote. It's important. That's where your local election is where our laws are influenced that. So we definitely need to vote. Then you have the city of Grand Prairie, Kurt Johnson and Junior Ezino up for re-election also. So definitely get out and vote for them if you're in the city of Grand Prairie. And there's a lot of re-election, Dallas and surrounding cities. So definitely get out and vote for them. Pick the candidate that's going to be best for you and your community. Welcome to the show, Marcellus. Thank you for always tuning in. What's going on, my people? I'm here. I see you got a night off tonight, or you just got off. Welcome to the show. So tonight we're going to do some updates, kind of like what I said last night. We're going to do some updates on Ahmaud Arbery case, also Andrew Brown Jr. case. But then also Georgia came out today. The guy that killed went around to the massage parlors, went around and killed them. Georgia is seeking the death penalty for them also, for him. Oh, okay. I feel you hiding. Don't get in trouble now. So we're gonna hit on all that tonight, and gonna put some highlights on some things because I really feel it's a good thing. They decided to actually charge Robert Aaron Long, and possibly gonna charge him with seeking the death penalty for him. But also there are some hate crimes that may come up against him also, just like Derek Chavez and those other cops that did nothing
about George Floyd being murdered right in front of him. So it's going to be possible hate crimes come along with that, which it should be, because you're going around shooting up folks just because you feel like it's your right. It ain't right. So, so that's a good thing that Georgia is seeking the death penalty on that. And then along with that, Georgia's been on top of things lately. So that's a good thing. The three men that is accused of killing, well, allegedly accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery, but we seen the video. They murdered that man. They was in court today to yeah, but they claim they not guilty for a hate crime. But we know what it was. It was all about the color of his skin. Because if he was a white guy, he would still be alive today, and y'all never would have said anything about him. So they went to court today and to answer the charges of the hate crime charges that came up against them. They all said not guilty. Not a surprise, but let the truth be told, we seen the video. And if he was white, none of that would have been happening. So that's my opinion of it. Yeah, it was a hate crime. Um, so I'm glad they're actually um, facing these hate crimes, because uh, it's one thing to face them, but we also need to find them guilty of it. That's another reason why you should be registered to vote, because you mess around and sit on the jury of one of these cases. If you're in that area, you can make the difference, because unfortunately, you may not want to sit on the jury. It may be somebody who support them would sit on that jury and find them not guilty. So we need to make sure not only getting out registered to vote, get out and vote, and when you get that jury sermon, show up at the jury. I know people feel like it's inconvenience, but it's a civic duty. We need to let our voice be heard in any way we can. And that's one of the major ways of doing it, besides voting. And we definitely need to do that, and let people know it's a new day and time. It's a new day and time. So let me pull up my notes, because this was man, on Andrew Brown Jr. case. It was hard to listen to what was being said. Of course, we all suspect the things that was told to us before about um, what happened the day that he was murdered. And unfortunately, what was said at first come out to be true. They murdered that brother. There's no other way of putting it. He was ambushed. When the police came up, he was sitting in his car on the phone, and they ambushed him while he was sitting in the car. Now, according to the attorneys, as soon as the cops came around, you heard shots ring out. Once people started shooting, Andrew put the car in reverse, trying to get away. Because at this point, you have all this yelling going on from different people. And they already shooting at you. But they said you can um, clearly see his hands on the steering wheel. And that district attorney that lied and said no shots happened until he went after them with the car, which the attorney said that's a bald-faced lie. He lied. You could clearly see as soon as they came around, they started shooting. Of course, if you somewhere, you sitting in your car, even if you outside of your car, if shots fire out, your natural reaction is to run, is to get away from the gunshots. He see all these folks come around. He don't see no police cars. All these folks coming around shooting. He threw the car in reverse when the shots started going out and tried to get away. They said at no point did Mr. Brown make contact with any officer. He turned to the left to go across the grass. No officer was in the path. The officers were standing on the side, unloading their guns. Now, let me explain what unloading is for the people that don't understand it. Meaning they was shooting and they was shooting every bullet in a clip and they was reloading. Now, take it, they also said at no point was Mr. Brown a threat to the police. Now, of course, once he passed by, they're shooting at the car. Then the car goes down in the ditch or whatever. Then you hear another shot in the back of the head. After that, now this is what they were saying at the news conference. After he was shot, they pulled him out of the car, laid him on the ground on his stomach. And I believe, I can't remember if they said it was handcuffs on him or not, but I believe it was. But the attorney said you could clearly see on the body cam video where he was shot in the back of the head. They turned around, searched the car, searched the house. Didn't even try to help him. Searched the house, didn't find nothing. And from that point, you got to ask yourself, what's wrong with that whole picture? I know people going to say, well, he shouldn't have tried to run. He didn't have that option. He was sitting in the car, hands up on the steering wheel, on the phone. And they started shooting at him. And they said it was so many different commands being thrown at him, they couldn't even tell what the commands were. It was so many shots fired at him, They couldn't even keep count of all of them. I'm gonna agree with the attorney. It was an unjustified shooting, and we need to seek justice for Andrew Brown Jr. They've gone on too long. Too many people have lost their lives all because of the color of their skin. But people feel like it's not a problem. They feel first thing they can say, well, they shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have done that. Look at their background. Their background don't have anything to do with it. It's the fact that this man didn't have a chance. Because as soon as they came up, they immediately opened fire. They immediately opened fire. One attorney said, now we know what they was trying to hide. Like I said before, if that was true, what the DA said about he hit an officer with a car, he went toward them with a car, show the video. Prove these attorneys wrong. But they couldn't do it. They was trying to hide it, trying to make us forget about it. Hopefully everything will die down. Maybe they'll forget about Andre Brown Jr. and it'll just be swept under the rug. Yeah, it probably been forgot about on certain mainstream media, but nah. I'm glad I was able to catch that press conference today, because I was interested in what did they find. Even that attorney said that, I believe he said the DA asked them, what are you going to see on the video? He said he told them, I'm expecting we're going to see an execution. And as they watched the video, that's exactly what they seen. Now, they did not see the whole video. They only seen like 20 minutes of it. And I think it's over 2 hours of videos or something, they said. And if I'm not mistaken, someone even mentioned someone was telling them cut off their body camera after the incident. I think they need to prevent them from doing that. Because if you have nothing to hide, why are you cutting it off? Show the full way that you investigated. Like for what? I'm not saying he was an angel. I don't know the dude. But I know what they done is not right. It's just not right. You murdered this dude for what? They didn't give him the opportunity. And one attorney said Andrew Brown Jr. was gunned down by a firing squad, and they should be in jail. I agree, they should be in jail. But we understand in that particular city, Elizabeth City, North Carolina, they had a good boy system where they stretch each other back. That's why they asking the DA to excuse himself. Get a special prosecutor on this. He should not be the one to prosecute them. That's like the police policing the police. So yeah, he needs to be excused. Then on top of that, he shares the same office as the police department. Shares the same office. But you saying you can make the right judgments on this? No, it's no way you can. Then you turn around, you put out a statement saying you seen the video, and he charged toward them with the car, bumped the officer with the car, trying to set up the narrative of this unjust killing. And I want to know how y'all feel about it because I know for me, I'm not happy about it at all. And this is going on way too long. Yeah, I'm tired of hearing about these stories, but I'm also tired about hearing about other killings that don't have anything to do with the police. That's why I say we need to take our neighborhoods back because we have folks in our neighborhood killing each other. I don't know where y'all live, but I know every day in Dallas is several killings going on in Dallas. I get alerts on my phone about killings all around the world. It seems like since they started opening things back up, it's getting worse. And so I want to know how y'all feel. Y'all can call in, um, talk to me. The only thing I ask, please. I get way too many spams. Do not, do not block your number. I would not answer. But I also won't be calling you back either. Welcome to the show, TCal. Thank you for always tuning in, supporting the show. But this was a straight up murder. Um, they didn't care what was going to happen. They went there to kill that brother. That's all they did. That attorney said they need to be arrested, prosecuted, found guilty, and a long sentence. And here's the bad part about it. There's no indication any charges will be filed. No indication. Because the DA, like I said, he set the narrative of it. Said he bumped the car, bumped an officer with the car before, reason why the shots went out. So he lied. That's the good boy system, that privilege. Um, we're talking about Andrew Brown Jr. The family had the opportunity of looking at 20 minutes of the video today. And what we suspected all along, they executed that brother. His hands was on the steering wheel. When the cops approach, they immediately start shooting right off the bat. But people feel like there's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot wrong with it. So, like I said, we got to keep this in the news. Sure, justice is done. It needs to be done. And when that attorney said no indication that any charges will be filed, no charges will be filed. I sure hope that's wrong. And I hope it's wrong. Like I said, they talked about the district attorney and to excuse himself because there's no way it could be a fair trial if charges are brought up. It's up to him to file the charges. And as long as he on that case, it's not gonna happen. So that's the problem. Uh, the problem we currently having in Elizabeth City because he decide what charges are brought, which ones are not brought up. So they definitely need to remove him from the case. A special prosecutor need to come in. Evidence don't lie. But when you have the wrong people in charge, they can do what they want to if you don't get out and vote. That's why it's so important to get out and vote. That's an elected official. We can make the choice. So, yeah, get out and vote. Let your voice be heard. Make a difference. Um, yeah, they said in the video you can see both hands in the video. And one attorney said it the best. He said, just because they wear a badge does not mean they shouldn't be in prison. If you're just not tuning in, welcome to the show. You're listening to Speak On It with Who You With Kurt Dog. I'm Who You With Kurt Dog. Right now, we're talking about the evidence that came out um, after the family seen the video of Andrew Brown Jr. murder case, where the DA lied and said shots started after he tried to hit him with the car. And we know that's a lie, which they suspected that anyway. And not only that, the attorney, when they seen the 20-second video, they knew then it was a lie. But now they seen 20-minute video. And the attorney said it was like Andrew was at a firing squad. Soon as they came around the corner, he was on the phone, had both hands on the steering wheel. They came around, started shooting. Said you could clearly see his hands on the steering wheel. And then they started shooting. Once they started shooting, once they murdered him, they pulled him out the car. lay him down on the stomach. Majority of the time, when even if it's known that the suspect is deceased, they still put him in handcuffs. But they searched the car, no weapon. They went into the house, no weapon. But they murdered this man. That's why they won't release the video. They won't release it for the simple fact they know they was wrong. They know they were. Um, they know exactly they was wrong. They know they murdered this black man. And it shouldn't be like that. I want to know how y'all feel about it. You know, you could call in, type it, however you want to do it. Let us know how you feel. I'm trying to pull up some things about this. Look at this one and see. Oh, yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. Da, 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 da. What I'm trying to do is pull up how the voting um, is set up there and kind of see how many people actually got out and voted and have it broke down. Because a lot of people, unfortunately, they vote strictly by parties. They don't care if they right or not. Um, so they supposed to been having a runoff, but it been canceled. Um, I guess it's due to this murder that they did. Um, Trying to see if I can get what I'm looking for. But either way, um, this is terrible. This is really terrible. They need to hold these officers accountable, and they need to make sure we get these laws changed to make sure this do not happen again. And if it do happen again, we hold them accountable. We hold them accountable because it don't make no sense why this is even up for a debate. They killed this man. Why is it a debate about it? It shouldn't be one. I cannot get what I'm looking for. Um, but yeah, let me know how y'all feel about it because this is really crazy on this. Um, I'm trying to find the right thing I'm looking for. If you're just not tuning in, like I said, sometimes we may um, actually come up with stuff during the show, and we have to do some research while we online live. So we are live, and you can share it with your friends, let them know we are live. You can live chat with us during the show. Um, you can always call in 972 591 3665. 972 591 3665. And you can be a part of the show and let us know how you feel about it. And um, but enough have to be enough. Um, this is so crazy the way um, that this is taking place. Sound like it should be charges brought up against the DA, obstruction of justice. Um, for the simple fact, you lied. You're supposed to be mutual on all of this. You're supposed to be in a position that's supposed to be fair for everyone, and you're not. Um, and that's a problem within itself. You don't want to be fair. You want to do what you want to do instead of doing what should be done and holding the cops, um, holding them accountable for their action. Uh, and I'm trying to get the DA name because we need to uh, put him on notice because um, it's a shame he don't want to hold him accountable. He doing everything he can to to try to make the guys look good and trying to blame the victim. We see this also often in a lot of these cases where they want them to, oh, it's not that bad. It's he did this, he did that. No, no, the cops killed that man. They murdered that man. And that's all to it. It's no other way of putting it. They murdered him. And the family is having to deal with this all because, say, DA do not want to do what's right. Only thing you got to do is hold them accountable. Hold them accountable. That's all you have to do. Uh, how they keeping? I can't even find his name. Um, but yeah, hold them accountable. Then we also needed to pay attention to some other things, kind of like that cop that killed Rayshard Brooks over in Atlanta. Kind of find out he also had other charges brought up on him that he haven't been charged with. Um, that is pending. Didn't know that. It just came out today. Um, because the cop that actually shot and killed Rayshard Brooks, he was accused of breaking a man's collarbone. I think it was like 2 weeks before he killed Rayshard Brooks. And they still haven't brought up charges on him. What are you waiting for? I don't understand. Um, he's known for attacking someone else 2 weeks before breaking his collarbone. Uh, I'm trying to. Okay, there it is. It's a lawsuit pending against that Atlanta officer broke man collarbone weeks before shooting Ray Brook. I said 2 weeks, but it was actually 3 weeks before the shooting and killing of Ray Brooks during a scuffle in a Wendy's parking lot. And battle Atlanta police officer Gary Ruff broke a man collarbone during a DUI stop, according to a federal complaint filed Monday. The lawsuit accused Ruff of using excessive force when he allegedly grabbed Charles Johnson Jr. and threw him to the ground during a May 22nd of 2020 arrest, thoroughly breaking his collarbone, among other minor injuries. It wasn't the first time Ralph was accused of using excessive force on the job, and Johnson attorney Keith Foster said if the Atlanta Police Department had handled a previous complaint, apparently Brooks might still be alive. And the attorney also said he had no business being on the street. He faced murder and a host of other charges in Brooks' shooting, which occurred June 12th. After police was called to Wendy's and found 27-year-old asleep behind the wheel in the drive-through line, a scuffle began after Brooks struck the other officer on the scene, Devin Brosen, hard enough to cause a concussion, grabbed Officer Taser and aimed at Ruff, who shot at Brooks as he ran away. And Ruff was fired the following day, and both officers was charged days later after a brief investigation by former Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard. Office Johnson attorney said his client was driving under the influence of alcohol 3 weeks early when he was stopped by Ralph shortly before 11 p.m. in the southbound lane of I-85 near Buford Highway connector. Johnson was on a date at the time, and a federal complaint admitted he was impaired behind the wheel. He get out of the car, and as most intoxicated people do, he was talking too fast. Foster said of his client, he was trying to explain his situation and wasn't listening to the verbal command of Officer Rolfe. According to a police report written by Rolfe, Johnson was stopped after he was clocked driving 85 in a 55-mile-an-hour zone. Rolfe got involved after a second officer spotted Johnson and another driver speeding and asked for help pulling the vehicle over, according to the incident report. Ruff then grew impatient when Johnson was not listening to his verbal command, but at no point were there any threats. At no point was there any violence, Foster said. Officer Ruff explained, simply lost his patience and slammed my guy to the ground. During the stop, Ralph noticed that Johnson, 49 at the time, had bloodshot, watery eyes and asked if he'd been drinking. According to the incident report, Johnson reportedly told him he hadn't, but Ralph noticed an open can of Bud Light underneath the driver's seat. He also wrote that he found an open bottle of brandy under the front passenger seat and said a woman riding in the car had an open container of wine. Johnson eventually admitted to drinking one beer, and Ralph asked him to gauge his level of impairment on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 being very impaired. He said he was a 2 and admitted to feeling buzzed. Ralph wrote in the report adding that Johnson failed this initial sobriety test and refused to take any others. He repeatedly begged me to let his passenger drive and offer alternative to continue my DUI investigation. Ralph wrote, I went to place Mr. Johnson under arrest, but he then resisted by pulling his arm away, refusing to place his hands behind his back and attempting to twist his body to face me. So this cop, Rayshard Brooks, should be alive today. Here it is, this cop. Same one to kill Rayshard Brooks, broke a guy shoulder blade. Collarbone, slamming him to the ground. A lawsuit have been filed. They seeks a jury trial at 3.5 million in damage. 3.5 million in damage. But they reinstated him because he wasn't given the proper amount of days to be terminated. But my whole thing is, what job gonna tell you in X amount of days we're gonna let you go? At this point, this is the behind the scenes stuff that we didn't know about. But now that they're coming out, we know about it. So I feel like Keisha Knight Bonham, she did the right thing by firing him. The dude 3 weeks earlier assaulted someone else, which is going to cost the city of Atlanta more money. At what point would the taxpayer in the city say, you know what, enough is enough? How many more lawsuits do we have to pay out to keep these officers from being scared of folks? How many more do we have to pay out? Then on top of that, you know, a lot of police department always say there's always a bad apple. You saying you know there's bad apples in your department, but what are you doing to get the bad apples out of your department? Because if you know it's bad apples, apparently you have identified them. What are you doing to get rid of them? And that's the problem we have. A lot of these police departments don't do anything to remove those bad apples. So yes, we need to remove them. Don't just let them stay there. They're making everybody look bad. The whole department is looking bad because of these bad apples. When you have a bad apple, and if you don't remove that bad apple, it's going to blend in with the rest of them. It's going to start making the rest of them being rotten. So why not get rid of them? But I would like for them to explain, when do you give an employee that continue to make mistakes, continue to cost you money, what's the purpose of giving him a notice that they're going to be fired? That don't make sense. I feel like Keisha Lance Bottom. I think I said Keisha Knight Bottom. When I say Keisha, I always think of Little Rudy. But when do you say no? You messed up. We're gonna get rid of you. We don't give you no notice. Get rid of him. Let him go. I think she made the right call because she already knew the record of this guy. She knew what type of record he had. I wonder if the police oversight board that voted to reinstate him, did they know what type of record he had? Did they know about the incident that happened 3 weeks before? I don't think they did. If they did, they turned a blind eye. Welcome to the show, Randolph Turner, listening in on Facebook. And you can live chat with us in the chat room. But yeah, this is all of this is going on too long. It's going on way too long. Um, hate the fact that we're still having to discuss these type of things. But I know if we don't discuss it, it'll fade away. People lose focus of it. But we need to hold these cops accountable. We need to hold them accountable. I cannot wait until they release the full video. I know they won't release the full video, but they're gonna put out an edited video of Andrew Brown Jr. case. But to hear how that brother was ambushed, hands on the steering wheel, you could clearly see them, and he was ambushed. It's no other way of putting it. He wasn't moving. That car did not move until they started shooting. I think one attorney said that in the video you could see um, holes in the windshield, in the side of the car, and in the back of the car. The cops unloaded their pistols, their weapons to kill this man. And they didn't have to. He was unarmed. But they came around the corner and started shooting. You probably seen the video of them in the back of the truck, how they was rolling up in a black pickup truck going to the house. To be honest with you, it looked almost like a Klansman going to a lynching. They all dressed in black. Black truck, no marking, going to this house at a high rate of speed, which I feel like it was going too fast for all the people that was on the back of the truck. But that's what they did. When they got there, they shot and killed them. It felt like nobody was going to be concerned about it. So, yeah, that's the way it is. That's the way they do things. Um, but hopefully that DA excused himself and stepped away from this case, and special prosecutor come in and take over this case. There's no way justice can be done for Andrew Brown Jr. for this murder. None whatsoever. Not as long as um, that DA is in charge. Randolph Turner asked, where was this? This was the murder of Andrew Brown Jr. I want to say it's been about 2.5 weeks now in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. They released like a 20-second video to the attorneys a couple of weeks ago. Then the DA come out, said, oh, you could clearly see in the video he tried to hit an officer with the car before the shots was fired. And the family was able to see a 20-minute video today. And when they seen the 20-minute video, you could clearly see Andre Brown Jr. hands up on the steering wheel. As soon as the cops came around, they came out shooting. That's when he backed the car up because he didn't know who was shooting at him. He just backed up trying to get away. They continued to shoot, unloaded their weapons, and reloaded. Then all of a sudden, a shot went off and shot him in the back of the head, killed him. Then, of course, once he was dead, they pull him out the car, lay him down on his stomach, handcuff him, search the car, then turn around and search the house, didn't find anything, no weapons or anything. So that's what they think about us. It's that was just straight up murder how they did this brother. And like the attorney said, we've been peaceful with protesting, we've been cooperating. But this, y'all have to make this right. You have to make it right. Y'all need to charge the cops. When I heard them say before, when they was talking about releasing the video, and they said a state of emergency for Elizabeth City, that told me then something ain't right. Something is not right. Why are you calling for a state of emergency? If everything you saying that happened the way that you said it did, why are you calling for a state of emergency? And then for that judge to come back and say, I give y'all 30 days to release it. You have 30 days to release the video. But if everything that DA said was true, that it was he tried to hit an officer with the car, if that was true, why not release the video? Prove these attorneys wrong. But all these attorneys, after watching 20 seconds of video, they knew what it was. Then that attorney asked, the district attorney asked the attorney, what do you expect to see in this video? Said, I expect to see an execution. And he said, that's exactly what it was, an execution. Once they watched it, they said that's exactly what it was. Said he was like at a firing squad. But as long as people don't get out and vote, we're going to continue to have people like this in charge that's not going to hold the cops accountable. We should, at this point, we should be filling up the polling place every time it open up. People say all the time, my vote don't count. It don't count because you don't get out and vote. It count, but you got to make it count. Go vote. Yes, the DA is a colleague of the police. Yes, that's what the attorney said this morning, well, this afternoon in the news conference. Said that there is no indication that any charges will be filed. The attorney need to excuse himself because it cannot be a fair trial. He worked with the police department and share a office, um, and share an office with the police. Now, last week, I believe, a week and a half ago, the district attorney came out saying no shots was fired until he made contact with his car with an officer, which that was a lie. That was a lie for the simple fact once they realized, once they seen the video, when the family and the attorney seen the 20-second video a couple of weeks ago, they automatically said it was an execution. Now, when they see the 20 minutes video, it proving what they've said. And then on top of that, they said you could see his hands the whole time. The whole time his hands is up on the steering wheel. Soon as they came around the corner, they started shooting. He was on the phone at the time. They started shooting, murdered that man. But they expect for us to just sit back and act like this did not happen. It's time for a change. It's time for a change. People ask me all the time, well, how can we make a change? Our votes don't count. You have to get out and vote. Take a friend to the polls with you and vote. Let your friends that just recently got out of prison or just got off papers that have a felony, let them know you could get your rights to vote back. Check it with your state. Go to vote.org. You can get them back. Long as you paid all your dues, you off papers, you could get them back. You could definitely get them back. You ask how to make a difference? Tell somebody to go vote. Help them get registered. Get them a ride to the polls. I'm telling you, Texas, we need to step up because these elections we had a couple of weeks ago, the numbers are terrible. They are terrible. But you got to remember, we have Greg Abbott, Ken Paxton, Dan Patrick, the Board of Education, all coming up for re-election. So we need to get out and vote. You have plenty of time to get registered. Plenty of time. Shouldn't be no excuse. Get out and vote. Let your voice be heard. Yeah, protesting is great. It is. But if that's all you're going to do, that only doing half of the job. The other half is getting out and voting. Protest your way to the polls and vote. I would love to see during election time, in the middle of a protest, everybody have one of those stickers on saying, I voted. I voted. That would scare a lot of folks because you going out there and you going out protesting, but now you're going out protesting and you're showing that you voted. And if they start seeing protester voting, they're going to get paranoid. Randolph said people are mentally enslaved and misinformed. Yes. Yes, they are. Because the thing is, some people think our local election is not important. Our local election is the ones that influence the federal laws. So, yeah, we need to get out and vote. Not only vote, stop making excuses to get out of jury duty and sit on that jury duty. Stop making excuses and make it happen. But some people don't want to do that. Oh, that old $6 ain't good enough. Yeah, but if you can choose between an innocent person going to jail or someone that's supposed to go to jail, that should make you happy. You played a part of it to make a decision. Why you think so many people here during the Craig Watkins era of the DA, so many people been released out of jail because they was innocent, wrongfully convicted. People start complaining, he don't need to worry about that. That's not his job. That's not his job. He shouldn't have to worry about that. That's not why we voted him in. He shouldn't worry about getting folks out that is already in jail. At some point, we got to say enough is enough. As long as you continue to do the same thing, you're going to continue to get the same results. You won't change, do something different. Make a change. Make a change and make a commitment with yourself. Every election that comes around, I'm going to go out and vote. Make that commitment. And if you do that, you'll feel much better. You'll feel like your vote did count. But it's not going to take one or two people. How they say it take a village to raise a child. Well, it will take a village to change the laws. It's not going to happen overnight. But if we get the right person in there, that's going to be for everybody and not just for certain group of people, it can make a difference. It will make a difference. But as for Andrew Brown Jr. case, we need to stay on top of it. Need to make people aware of it. Because a lot of cases, once we hear about it in the news, we all hyped up. Then once mainstream media take it off, they stop talking about it. We forget about it. But I watch when I wake up in the morning. I watch the local news too, but I also watch the Black News channel. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Check it out. Mike and I forgot the young lady name. Uh, they had the morning show. Mike, Cynthia Bailey husband. Uh, they do the morning show there. Check it out. They will keep you informed about what's going on these type of cases, as well as other cases that you may have never heard about. So yeah, check them out. The Black News channel. You can find them pretty much anywhere. Um, you can download the app or go to the web page, check them out. So, but other than that, man, it's Tuesday night. This week is rolling. Um, so tomorrow night we'll have some more stories we will be talking about tomorrow night. Um, and depends on what time frame we have. We may do Ask Kurt Dog Anything tomorrow night. Start bringing that back weekly. Um, Kiki. Uh, no, not Kiki. What is the girl name? Mike and I cannot remember that young lady name, but golly, I cannot Sharon, but she no, that's not it. Um, I'm doing, man. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I can't complain. I know we both gone through some things over the last 6 months or so. Still praying for y'all, and but I'm gonna make a point to have make an appearance at the event coming up in June. So I I haven't been to one yet because normally I'm busy, but I'm gonna try to get out there. I like the competition they're talking about having. I might have to dust Big Daddy off to come out there and let y'all know I don't normally talk, but I can also smoke. So um, so I'm gonna have to see how my schedule is during that time, but I'm definitely thinking about doing it. When they start talking about competition, I'm like, hey, um, I just might have to do it. Let me see who this. See now my name is my mind going around in circle because I'm trying to figure out what's the young name that is on there with morning. Um, um, yeah, with Big Daddy, I'm gonna just tell you it'll hold 16 flaps at one time. So 16 flaps, so we can do some things. Um, been a while since I pulled them out, but I will tell my good luck. So you need to go over to um, when you watching, you go to the page, speak up with who you with, because then you can uh, um, then you can actually see. I can put your comments up on the board because for some reason on my personal page I cannot put the comments up, but I do a little something, just a little something, not a whole bunch, but I do a little something. Uh, but 16 flaps at one time, that I think that's enough to feed the army or close to it. So um, I'm surprised they don't have it on their. Um, okay, here it is. Mike and trying to see her name, but the young lady, she's out of Atlanta, and they actually, if you never watched BNC Black News Network, pull them up. Um, First thing in the morning, that's the first thing I do after giving thanks. Pull it up and start watching, and it's they're on point. They don't play around. And the sister She had one of those looks on her face like, don't try me. Um, it's actually pretty good. I actually like them because it's kind of like me, but without all the cussing when I do cuss. But they're kind of like me. They really go into detail about different cases and stuff like that. So I like them. Yeah. So I'm gonna see Randolph. I gotta have to get some things done. Um, and if I'm able to come out there, I'm gonna. If I come, y'all will know when I'm coming because you'll see the smoke. Uh, you'll see the smoke as I'm coming up. So you'll know if I'm coming. Their website is completely different. They don't have her name on here, but she's I want to say her name is Sharon Reed or something. Sharon and Mike. Yeah, that's it. Sharon and Mike speaking the truth. So yeah, Sharon and Mike in the morning on Black News uh, Network. So definitely check them out. Um, I'm watching every morning Black News Network. You can find them on depends on what cable company you have. You can find them. You can also stream them. So, but they are pretty good. So, but yeah, Randolph, we'll have to get together, man. I'm gonna definitely try to come out there, and um, June is normally a busy month for me, but I'm gonna see what I can do. Um, longest we're still nervous about being around a lot of folks, but I see if I can do, and then what'll happen if I come out there and remind y'all I'm still the same. Hang out, uh, smoke some stuff, get the trophy, and go home. So so that's cool. But hey, I appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. Um, please continue to support the show. Tell a friend. Let them know we are live. You can always live chat with us. And Randolph, in the future, go to speak on it with who you with Kurt though. Then I can put your message up on the board because people might think I'm crazy reading your messages and they can't see them. But if you go to the page, I'll be able to put them up on the board and they can see exactly what you're putting up. But other than that, see y'all tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time. If the good Lord say the same, love each and every one of you. Till then.